Madam Chairman, we are streaming.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I would like to call this meeting to order. Dr. Albright, may I have a roll call, please?
Janelle Astorga,
Here.
Ronaldo Tomorito,
Here.
Heather Benavides,
Here. Good morning.
Courtney Jackson, Crystal Tapia Romero.
Here. So our first item is to consider adoption of the June 26, 2024 Finance Committee meeting agenda. May I have a motion, please?
I move that we consider adoption of the June 26, 2024 Finance Committee meeting agenda. This is Board Member Benavides.
I'll second.
Thank you. Dr. Albright, may I have a roll call, please?
Janelle Astorga,
Yes.
Ronaldo Tomorito,
Yes.
Heather Benavides,
Yes.
Crystal Tapia Romero.
Yes. So our next item is to consider approval of the minutes from the Finance Committee meeting on May 22nd, 2024. May I have a motion, please?
I move that we consider approval of the minutes from the Finance Committee meeting held on May 22nd, 2024. Board Member Benavides.
I'll second. This is Janelle.
Perfect. Thank you. We have a motion by Board Member Benavides, a second by Board Member Astorga. Dr. Albright, may I have a roll call?
Janelle Astorga,
Yes.
Ronaldo Tomorito,
Yeah.
Heather Benavides,
Yes.
Crystal Tapia Romero.
Yes. And I would just like to say congratulations to Dr. Albright, who is now over our board services and will be leading our board meeting. So congratulations, Dr. Albright. As we continue, our next item is consideration for approval of the May 2024 intra-function transfers for grant budget. And our presenter on this is Ms. Montoya, our Executive Director of Budget and Strategic Planning. Ms. Montoya, you have the floor.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board, Acting Superintendent Blakey, presenting for your consideration of approval, the budget adjustments for grant management for June 2024. We are taking steps to approve and obtain budget authority in this time for the start of the new school year, so the school can make the most of their spending and have sufficient time for that. And there's nothing, these are all normal transactions, and I stand for questions.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Ms. Montoya. Members of the committee, do we have any questions related to this item? Okay, I am not seeing any. Thank you so much. We will go ahead and continue. Our next item for consideration is approval for grant applications for Title II for school year 24-25. And Ms. Montoya, I will continue to give it back to you.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board, Acting Superintendent Blakey, presenting for your consideration approval for the grant application for Title II for the school year of 2024-2025. We're required to bring this to you for review and approval by New Mexico PED, and we stand for questions.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Ms. Montoya. Any questions from the members of the committee? Okay, I see none. So we will go ahead and continue. Thank you for that. Our next item is consideration for approval of the May 2024 intra-function transfers for all non-categorical funds. And I will turn this over to Ms. Montoya, our Executive Director of Budget and Strategic Planning.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board, Superintendent Blakey. This agenda item requests the approval of non-categorical intra-function budget transfers for the month of May 2024. They are 7.2 million in operational, 10,000 in transportation, 999 in forest reserve, 134 in athletics, 2.5 million in capital funds. Most of this is the operational fund. It's budget transfers to pay for the second semester of the supervision stipends. With that, I stand for questions.
Oh, excuse me, sorry, I sneezed real quick. Thank you so much, Ms. Montoya. Members of the committee, do we have any questions? Okay, thank you so much. I see none, so we will go ahead and continue. Thank you for your presentations. So our next item for consideration is approval of a statement of equipment to be taken out of service for March 1st through May 31st, 2024. And I have Mr. Allison, who's our Senior Director of Capital Fiscal Services. Mr. Allison, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you. Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board, Superintendent Blakey. I am presenting for your consideration of approval as our statement of equipment to be taken out of service from March 1st through the 31st. In our technology department, it was in the amount of $1,337,274. And our salvage was in the amount of $3,008,781. And this consists of, for the one, as you see, we had for our salvage, it's March through May. And for technology, it is March and May. We were able to get some of the April stuff for technology done on time, but we had some research to do on the previous March, and that was why we were able to present April, but then had to do March with May, because we had some questions to make sure everything we were presenting was correct, and we didn't make the deadline when trying to get those questions answered.
Perfect.
I'm staying for questions.
Awesome. Thank you, Mr. Allison. Members of the committee, I know there's a few months on here. I don't know if there's additional questions related to this item. I want to make sure and give you appropriate time. Okay, perfect. I see no questions. Thank you, Mr. Allison, for that explanation. We will go ahead and continue. So our next item for consideration is approval of district purchases or expenditures that equal or exceed $500,000. The first one is for non-food packaging and kitchen supplies. And our following presenters for the next few items will be Ms. Gensler, our Executive Director for Procurement, and Sandra Kemp, our Executive Director of Food and Nutrition Services. So ladies, you have the floor here.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board, Acting Superintendent Blakey. I'm requesting consideration and approval for the purchase of non-food packaging and kitchen supplies. It's utilizing a request for proposal as a procurement method. The estimated cost is $3.7 million for a 4-year contract utilizing federal funds, and I'm happy to answer questions.
Thank you. Any questions from the committee on this? Okay, easy breezy. So we will continue on to our next item. It's consideration for approval of district purchases or expenditures that equal or exceed $5,000. And this one now is for culinary arts equipment. So Ms. Gendler, back to you.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board, Acting Superintendent Blakey. I'm requesting consideration for approval of the purchase of culinary arts equipment. This was utilizing a bid. It's multi-award million for 4-year contract using both operational and federal funds, and I'm happy to answer any question.
Thank you. Members of the committee, any questions regarding culinary arts? No. Okay. We will continue on. Our next item is consideration for approval of district purchases or expenditures that equals or exceeds $500,000. This one now is for nursing services. So back to you, Ms. Gensler.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board, Acting Superintendent Blakey, requesting consideration for approval for the purchase of nursing services. The procurement method was an RFP. The estimated cost for 4 years is $3.2 million, and it's utilizing federal funds. I'm happy to answer questions.
Thank you. Members of the committee, any questions on this? We're easy today. Look at that. We'll go ahead and continue. Thank you so much. Our next item for consideration is approval of district purchases or expenditures that equals or exceeds $500,000. This one now is for the purchase of food services software. So Ms. Gensler, back to you.
Yep. So back to food services. Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board, Acting Superintendent Blakey. I am requesting consideration for approval for the purchase of food services software. This is utilizing a cooperative, a buy board cooperative. The estimated cost for year 1 is $599,639 for year one. And the following 5 years estimate is $199,000 for a total of $1,789,000 and 3.1 cents. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you so much. Members of the committee, any questions on this particular item? No? Okay. Ms. Tomarito, I understand the dogs right now. I get it. So let's go ahead and continue. Our next item is consideration for approval of district purchases or expenditures that equals or exceeds $500,000. This item now is for the purchase of musical instruments, supplies, and equipment. And Ms. Gensler, back to you.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board, Acting Superintendent Blakey, requesting consideration for approval for the purchase of musical instruments. This was utilizing a bid. It's a multi-award. The estimated cost is $6 million for a 6-year term. And I'm happy to answer questions.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Members of the committee, any questions? Okay, I see none. Great. So we will go ahead and continue. Our final item on this is the consideration approval of district purchases or expenditures that equals or exceeds $500,000. And believe it or not, this is for plastic can liners. It just shows you how pricey these could be. So Ms. Gensler, I will turn it back to you.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board, Acting Superintendent Blakey, requesting consideration for approval of the purchase of plastic can liners. We utilize a bid as the procurement method. It's a multi-award. The purchase for 6 years is $720,000 utilizing operational funds. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Members of the committee, any questions? No. Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much, Ms. Gensler. We will go ahead and continue with our agenda. So our
Board Member Tapia
There
Romero.
is one more
Yes.
item.
Did I miss
I
it?
believe we missed 4.2 and we still have 4.7.
4.2? Yes, I know 4.7, but 4.2. For intra-function transfers?
Correct. We did 4.1, but we don't have record of 4.2. Sorry.
No problem. I think I got confused between 4.4 on my agenda. My apologies. Thank you so much. So let's pop that back up into 4.2. So our next item is to consider approval of May 2024 intra-function transfers for grant budget. And Ms. Montoya, thank you for still being with us. Back to you.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Superintendent Blakey, I have presenting for your consideration of approval the intra-function transfers for grant management for May 2024. These are budget alignments which are focused on closing the 23-24 fiscal year. And with that, I stand for questions.
Perfect. Thank you. And again, my apologies for skipping that one. Members of the committee, any questions on this item? Okay, I see none. So we will go ahead and continue over to 4.7. So our next item for consideration is the approval of May 2024 cash disbursements. And we have Ms. Gensler back on it. So you have the floor, ma'am.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board, Acting Superintendent Blakey. I'm requesting consideration for approval of the May 2024 cash disbursements. Happy to answer any questions.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Members of the committee, any questions on the disbursements? Okay, I see none. So we will go ahead and continue. Thank you so much. So our next item is to consider recommending consent agenda board approval of all items discussed during the June 26, 2024 Finance Committee meeting, which include the grant budget adjustments, interfunction and intra-function transfers, Title II application, statement of equipment to be taken out of service for March through May of 2024, district purchases or expenditures that equal or exceed $500,000. This includes non-food packaging and kitchen supplies, culinary arts equipment, nursing services, purchase food service software, purchase of musical instruments, supplies, and equipment, and the purchase of plastic can liners. We also had May cash disbursements. So having said that, members of the committee, I'm asking for a motion.
I move that we consider recommending consent agenda item board approval of items considered, I'm sorry, I can move that we consider recommending consent agenda board approval of items discussed during the June 26, 2024 Finance Committee meeting, including grant budget adjustments, interfunction and intrafunction transfers, Title II application, statement of equipment to be taken out of service from March through May, district purchases or expenditures that equal or exceed $500,000, non-food packaging, culinary arts, nursing services, purchase food services software, purchase musical instruments, supplies and equipment, plastic can liners, and May cash disbursements. This is Board Member Benavides.
I will second. This is Janelle.
Fantastic, thank you. So Dr. Albright, may I have a roll call, please?
Janelle Astorga,
Yes.
Ronaldo Tomorito,
Yes.
Heather Bennett,
Yes.
Crystal Tapia Romero.
Yes, thank you, everyone. So our next Finance Committee meeting will be on July 24th, 2024 at 8 a.m. virtually, or you can watch on the APS Board of Education YouTube channel. So this meeting is adjourned, which will be immediately followed by a special Board of Education meeting. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Board Member Gonzalez, I believe we're ready whenever you are.
Great, was just going to ask. Thank you. Welcome to the Special Board of Education meeting. I call the meeting to order. Dr. Albright, may I have a roll call, please?
Janelle Astorga,
Here.
Ronaldo Tomorito,
Here.
Heather Benavides,
Here.
Crystal Tapia Romero,
Here.
Josefina Dominguez, I see Josefina. I did not hear you though. Courtney Jackson, Danielle Gonzalez.
Here. Our next item is to consider adoption of the June 26th, 2024 Special Board of Education meeting agenda. Just a reminder for board members that per the APS Board of Education Governance Manual, you can ask that an item be removed from the consent agenda before the meeting agenda is posted, but not during the meeting. With that said, is there a motion for adoption of the agenda?
I will move for approval of the adoption of the June 26, 2024 Special Board of Education meeting agenda.
And I'll second. This is Board Member Benavides.
Thank you. We have a motion from Member Tapia Romero and a second from Member Benavides. Dr. Albright, can we have a roll call vote, please?
Janelle Astorga,
Yes.
Ronaldo Tomorito,
Yes.
Heather Benavides,
Yes.
Crystal Tapia Romero,
Yes.
Josefina Dominguez, Danielle Gonzalez.
Yes. Thank you. Next item is to consider approval of the minutes from the Board of Education meeting on June 5th, 2024, and the special Board of Education meeting on May 29th, 2024. Can I have a motion, please?
I will move for approval of the minutes from the Board of Education meeting on June 5th, 2024, and the special Board of Education meeting on May 29th, 2024.
I will second. This is Janelle.
Thank you. We have a motion from Member Tapia Romero and a second from Member Astorga. Dr. Albright, can we have a roll call vote, please?
Janelle Astorga,
Yes.
Ronaldo Tomorito,
Yes.
Heather Benavides. Oh, looks like we lost Heather. Crystal Tapia Romero,
Yes.
Josefina Dominguez, and Danielle Gonzalez.
Yes. Our next item is to consider approval of the consent agenda, which includes items 4.1 through 4.8. May I have a motion for approval, please?
I will move for approval of the consent agenda, which includes items 4.1, so grateful you know read each one, through 4.8.
I will second.
Thank you. We have a motion from Member Tapia Romero and a second from Member Astorga. Dr. Albright, can we have a roll call vote, please?
Janelle Astorga,
Yes.
Ronaldo Tomorito,
Yes.
Crystal Tapia Romero,
Yes.
Josefina Dominguez,
Yes.
and Danielle Gonzalez.
Yes. Thank you. We'll move on to agenda item 5.1, which is to consider approval of the amendment to the contract for Vos Collegiate Preparatory Charter School. Our presenters are Dr. Joseph Escobedo, Senior Director of the Charter School team, and Isaac Rivas Savel, Founder and Head of Vos Collegiate Preparatory Charter School. Again, just to acknowledge, we had questions submitted in advance of the board meeting, and they're listed on the agenda and posted online along with the answers, which were submitted. And so with that, I just wanted to see if we have a motion and a second or discussion.
I will actually move for approval of the amendment to the contract for the Vos Collegiate Preparatory Charter School.
Thank you. Do we have a second, or is there any discussion or questions?
I will second.
Thank you. And so we have a motion to approve from Member Tapia Romero and a second from Secretary Astorga. Is there any additional discussion or questions? All right, so with that, we will call for a roll call vote, please.
Yes.
Ronaldo Tomorito,
Yes.
Heather Benavidez's internet went out. She's trying to get back on. Crystal Tapia Romero,
Yes, and congratulations, Mr. Rivas.
Josefina Dominguez, and Danielle Gonzalez.
Yes, so the motion carries. The next Board of Education meeting will be Wednesday, July 17th, 2024 at 5 p.m. at the Alice and Bruce King Educational Complex at 6400 Uptown Boulevard and live streamed at aps.edu. And with that, this meeting is adjourned.
2 meetings, guys, 8:25. Just saying.
Have a good day, everyone.